Gemma here. So this is a level 2/3 Pilates. Remember, as usual, if you are injured, then this is not appropriate for you to be doing. If anything feels uncomfortable at any point, then please just stop. Listen closely for any alternatives and adjustments offered. And with that in mind, have a glass of water maybe handy. I haven't, just in case it's warming where you're participating in your exercise. So let us start with our feet hip distance apart. And remember, if you're not sure what hip distance apart is, we can take our feet together, we can turn them out like Mary Poppins, and then turn our heels out, and we've got our hip distance apart. We can always monitor this through the session by taking our thumb and little finger, taking that over the toes, and checking that our little toes sit within those 2 points. Shoulder blades are back and down. We've got a little bit of softness in the back of the knees, maybe as if I'm just tickling the back of the knees for you. And all we're going to do is start with some pelvic rocks. I'm just going to change to the side. So we're just going to begin to tuck the tailbone under. So the pelvis is just rocking backwards and forwards. And all we're doing here is we're going to get ourselves into that correct postural form as much as we can. But we're also getting that synovial fluid moving, lubricating the joints, the lumbar, the sacral part of the spine before we go into our session today. So just nice and steady, rocking back and forth. Just taking our time. Remember that movement is really individual. So maybe bigger or small. Mine's not particularly big. I've got quite a stiff back. And then what I want you to do is tuck it under and hold it in position. Now what you want is a slight difference to your normal posture. So my normal posture would be, I'm a bit of a duck bum, I've got posterior tilt, so I'd be like so. But I've got that tuck under, and that's adjusting my posture. My shoulder blades are back and down, I'm turning back to face you. And I'm just going to take a few moments to focus on my breath. So I'm breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth. And as we're taking these nice long deep breaths in, we are feeling the ribs expand and contract. So this is a lateral breath. We're breathing into the rib cage, no deeper, just into the rib cage. So not quite, so sometimes most of us do shallow breaths just into the upper chest. We're taking it into the rib cage. I'm just getting used to how that feels because we want to be maintaining that breath all the way through. And then very gently take your focus into your pelvic floor. So remembering our pelvic floor starts from the top of that bum crack. And we are contracting here into the back. We're contracting into the middle of the pelvic floor and then round to the front. So thinking of it as that elevator, we've come up to the first floor, up to the second. We've now lifted up to the third floor. That's our final destination, and we want to stay on that third floor. So we're just holding it there, nice and strong, holding it there. So once we've got that pelvic contraction, let's begin to just from back to front. Let's relax the number 3, that third floor, relax the second floor and the first floor. So just go through that sequence of contracting 1, 2, 3, releasing 3, 2, 1, maybe releasing 1 and 3, but keeping 2 in place. And I know when I've been in the studio and we've had conversations with people, I can't remember what I do, like this contraction of those 3 points. It is worth practicing, even if you feel you're not necessarily, you feel like you're just contracting everything and not just 1 point, because it allows us to become more conscious of the different parts of the pelvic floor. It also depends on if you're struggling with that second part, that mid pelvic floor, or the third at the front. It lets us know where that weak area is, if you have a weak area within the pelvic floor. So if you know that, then you can practice on those areas as well. So just nice and steady. Lifting and contracting, and then let's just lift and hold those 3 points in place. Shoulder blades are back and down. We've got our pelvic floor in place. Now let's take our focus into our core, into the abdominals. So focusing on the belly button, begin to draw the belly button in towards the spine. So let us pull it in. We're pulling it in towards the spinal cord. We want to feel tension, stability, but we want to be able to breathe comfortably. So it's around about 25–30% tension. Once you've got that, shoulders are relaxed, you're just going to give me a sassy walk. So remember, with that sassy walk, your hips are swaying side to side and your arms are just swaying back and forth. And we're really just letting the body be free. But we've got that postural integrity now. So we've got that slight tuck, we've got that pelvic floor, we've got that abdominal connection, and we've got our lateral breathing going on. So we're just bringing some movement, my mouth's asleep, some mobility into the body as we sway backwards and forwards. Lifting into the balls of the feet, into the toes, and then very gently just relax down. Let's give ourselves a beautiful double chin. Let's squeeze in the chin to the chest and then let it release. Squeeze the chin in, let it release. Squeeze in, release. Squeeze in, release. Inhaling, exhaling. So just feeling as you draw the chin in, feeling the stretch in the back of the neck. 2 more for me, and along the shoulders. And last one. Then hold it in the center, and let's just do that cervical rotations. So just rotating the head side to side. Really important, I always think, to not miss out the neck, to have those cervical rotations, having those double chins, having some movement in the neck go on in our mobility. We use our neck so much. Sometimes we're unconscious of how much it impacts like our movement. So really good to stretch and work on neck mobility. It's not about getting it further, it's just keeping that range nice and strong. Let's have one more to the right, one more to the left. And then sassy walk it out again. So let those arms, those hips swing, peeling the heels off the floor, nice and steady. Lift it into the balls of the feet, postural integrity, and then relax. Lateral glides, sliding away from the body if you can. So remembering, if we've got that osteoporosis diagnosis, we're going to keep our range relatively small, and we're looking to keep equal distance on both sides. So nice and steady. I feel my hips are feeling a bit tight this morning as I laterally glide out. So just enjoying that, breathing out, breathing in. Last 2 for me. And relax. Bring your hands up onto your shoulders, elbows up, knees soft, rotations to the side. Remembering that again, I'm just moving forward slightly. Remembering again that as we rotate, if we've got osteoporosis, we're not going to worry about where our hips are going. If we don't have that diagnosis, we're just not going to encourage the hips to move, okay? So there may be some movement, but you're just not encouraging that movement. So if it was encouraging, we just wouldn't care. We'd just be swaying all over the place, and we don't want that. So we're just not encouraging it. Shoulder blades back and down in those back pockets. Nice and steady. And let's have 2 more. So 1 more to the right, 1 more to the left. Bringing it back to the center. Let your hands come down and just relax. I'm going to turn to the side. We're doing monkey squats. Now, as we do our monkey squats, we're going to have a little rotation and look over. Remember to tuck my tailbone under. Look over the shoulder as we go. So now remember, if you've got any shoulder issues, I'll just move back a little bit further back. If you've got any shoulder issues, then maybe leave the arms out. They don't have to be in the movement. So we're rotating, looking over the shoulder. We want to check that as we go down, we can see our toes. So we're pushing our bum back. We're nice and diagonal in our movement. Nice and diagonal in movement. So keep going. So what we're looking for is that as you're going down, you've got your spine in neutral. That's what I meant by a diagonal. I didn't necessarily mean diagonal movement. So let's just go inhaling, exhaling as you come up. Let's just have 4 more. Get a little bit warmer. Last 2. Last 1. and relax. Turning to the front, bringing the feet together for me. Hands on the hips, bring the index fingers across, check that they meet in the middle. Remember, if they're slightly out, one's above the other, we can bring our hands back to the hips and adjust. But if you know that you have one hip higher than the other and you've got that diagnosis, then really don't worry about that adjustment because you're not going to get it. Then we just lift one heel off the floor, then the other. Easy peelers, different to sassy walk because we want to keep our hips level. We want to keep our shoulders level. So nice and steady, controlled movement, easy peelers. So nice and steady. And let's quicken it up a little bit. Now as we quicken up, that is when there's the opportunity to lose your focus, to become less stable. So quicken it up, but keep that stability just for 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Stepping the feet back out to hip distance apart, and remember, you can always take the thumb and the little finger, check those little toes are there. Tailbone under, postural integrity in place. Hands on the hips. Let's lift into one foot. Now as you lift, you're automatically going to tilt to one side. Let's make sure those hips stay level. Big toe can rest on the floor or float in the air. Let's just rotate it in one direction and then the other direction. Just get rid of those snap, crackles and pops. Bring it down. Back to hip distance. Again, we step in, as you can see, tilting to one side. Let's check we're level. Big toe on the floor or just lifted. Rotate in one direction and then the other direction. And then relax. Okay, give it a little shake. We're going to go into our workout. So starting with monkey squats, we're going to go down to 3 and up to 1. So I'm going to do this on a side angle. Remember again, if you've got shoulder issues, then please keep the arms out. I'm just going to move slightly off there, slightly away from the wall. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3 and up. So it's a fluid movement. 1, 2, 3 and up. Keep going. Now as you go through that movement, you're going down to 3. It's fluid. You come up to 1. Check you can see your toes as you're going down. If you cannot see your toes, you need to push that bottom further back, remember. As we see in class sometimes, I know it's crude, but imagine you're going to the loo, you automatically push your bum further back. That tailbone should be tucked under as you go through this movement. 1, 2, 3 and up. Let's just have 2 more. 1, 2, 3 and the last one. 1, 2, 3 and up. This time, let's go down to 1 and come up to 3. So we go down 1, 2, oh hang on, and up. Let's go down to 1 and up to 3, should I say. So down to 1, up 1, 2, 3. Down 1, 1, 2, 3. Again, check in that your toes, your knees are not surpassing the toes. 1, 2, 3. Down 1, 2, 3. Inhaling, exhaling as you come up. 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. And relax. Give it a shake. Staying on that side view, because from those monkey squats we're going straight into lunges. So let's take our right leg behind us, nice and wide. So we've got a nice wide stance. Heels down, lift the heel up, we want to into the toes. Hands on the hips for me, shoulder blades back and down. Take a nice deep breath. Let's go down. As you come down, front leg at 90, back leg at 90. Check you can see your toes, then come up. So we're going down and up, down and up. Now as you're doing that, keep going for me. So being conscious all the time that you can see those toes at the front, that tailbone is tucked under, you've got that pelvic elevator in place, you're on that flared floor, you're staying on that flared floor, and you're drawing that belly button in towards the spine. You're inhaling as you come down, and you're exhaling as you come up. So keep going for me. Nice and steady. We're going to have 3 more. And last one, stay at the bottom, holding it here. Let's just have 8 pulses, just for 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Come up, change over, opposite leg goes behind. Nice big wide stance. Excuse me cheating and using the wall. Heel off the floor. And again, we're going to come down to 90 degrees and up. 90 degrees and up. Checking you can see your toes. Keep going for me. Shoulder blades back and down. I've been really struggling this past week. You can always use a chair to hold on to as we're going with this. Push your tongue to the roof of the mouth with your balance. Yeah, I've been really struggling with that broken toe. It's past week, my foot has been really bothering me. So where it broke just as the toe bone comes into the actual foot. And I broke the bone off completely. So I don't know whether it's just I've not rested it enough, or I'm not sure, or it just needs longer, but it's just been bothering me. So let's have one more. Stay at the bottom. Just having a moan there, sorry about that. So let's have 8 pulses, just for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come up, bring it in, give it a shake. Give it a shake. I'm just going to grab my beans. So remember, you could be using weights, you might have little balance balls. We're going to move on to balance. We're still working the legs. So, holding my beans, you might have water bottles, or you might be doing it without, absolutely fine. Feet are together, tailbones under, shoulder blades are back and down. You're going to bend your right knee, and we're going to lift the opposite arm to the opposite leg, and look over the shoulder, bring it back to the center and bring it down. And we're just going to do it, alternate on both sides. So you come up, I don't want you to turn the head until your leg is fully in place. Now that leg, as it comes up, so join me when you're ready, it may stay on the floor, the big toe may stay on the floor. That's absolutely fine. You go with what's right for you. You may be bringing it and it might be hovering just off the floor. That's also fine. Anywhere between the floor and hip height is great, okay? But don't turn the head until you get to the point where your knee is in position, then rotate your head, because that's going to make it more challenging with your balance. So keep going. We're inhaling as we lift, exhaling as we bring it down. Nice and steady, taking your time. So we're working on ankle stability, knee stability, hip stability. Really good for our right and left side of the brain balance work as well. Core is strong. Nice and steady. Bringing it back. So, one more on the left this time. Bring it back on the right, and this time we're just going to stay up. So we come into position, you might just stay here, you might turn the head. When you turn the head, it's going to challenge your balance more. Remember, we can push our tongue to the roof of the mouth. Keep that postural integrity, pelvic floor, abdominal belt going on there. We're on the 3rd floor. Keep your back nice and tall, so if I turn to the side, so be conscious that you're not arching and leaning back. So stay in there, just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Let us do the other side. And we're holding again. The head could be looking forward. Maybe you've got it rotated. It's really what feels right and what feels comfortable for you. Let's take a deep breath. As you exhale, let's bring it down. Take your feet out hip distance apart and sassy walk it out. Swing it out. Let it be fluid, let it move freely. And we're going to move down onto the floor. So, if you have got any weights, any beams, any cans, bend your knees, that monkey squat whenever we're lifting or picking up. Come down to the end of the mat so you've got the length of the mat in front of you, feet hip distance apart, inhale up, exhale, hands to thighs, take a deep breath. As you exhale, walk your hands back onto all fours, hands beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. So, we want our eyes looking down to the floor. I've got huge hair today. Want our eyes looking down to the floor, not under the body. So looking down, not in front, not under. Elbows are slightly soft and wrists are underneath those elbows, and the wrist and the elbows are both under the shoulders. So there's a slight softness in that elbow. Remember, if we struggle with our wrists, we can always come into a fist. Just make sure the wrists and forearms are in alignment. Or if you've got a thin towel, hand towel, tea towel, roll it up and let your hands rest on that. So your wrists are slightly tilted. That's going to give you some ease as well in the wrists. Tailbone is pushing to the back of the room and shoulder blades are drawing together. We're going to tuck the tail under and back. So just tucking under and back. Nice and steady, breathing in and back. And remember, keep going with that. This is all about, again, getting that movement into the lumbar sacral part of the spine, to the base of the spine, that synovial fluid. The thoracic spine, shouldn't really be moving. That movement should just be coming from the bottom as it tucks under the hips and pelvis and lifts up towards the ceiling. So if you have got a mirror handy, you can see yourself, that is really useful just to check. Am I moving in my thoracic? You may see a little bit of movement. What you're really careful of is you're not doing a cat-cow, because we're not doing cat-cow from yoga. We're just doing that lumbar tuck. And then last one. And then bring it back. Now, holding that position, so you're in neutral spine, tailbone is tucked towards the back of the room, shoulders are joined together, hands beneath the shoulders, just moving slightly forward. All we're going to do is tap one leg behind and draw it back. Now, as we tap, trying to keep the hips level as we do so. So we're not tilting to one side as we go. So just tap and back, tap and back. Getting ready to go into plank. Now remember, again, we could be resting on our fists to do this. You may want to come down to your forearms, which means your bum's going to be in the air as we go through this motion. That's okay, because we're not in plank at this point. So, just 4, last 3, last 2, and last 1. Bring it back. Now remember, if you are on your fist, your back is going to be on a diagonal. It's not going to be like a table, okay? Don't let the chest drop in between. Keep the shoulder blades drawing together, tailbone pushing to the back of the room. So, either resting on the fists, the hands, or the forearms. Take the right leg back, left leg, and we come into full plank. We're looking for a nice diagonal line. Remember, if it feels too much, we can be on our knees. And again, we're not sticking the bum up, we're not a box position, we're letting the hips and pelvis come forward, but we're not dropping the hips and pelvis. So holding nice and strong, breathing nice and deep, just for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Gently come back, toes come down, knees come down, take your bum back and come into child's pose. So let the hands reach out, head comes between the arms. Remember, if you're large in the chest or you've got a lockdown cake belly like myself, you can take your knees a little bit wider and we just hold it there. Hold it there. It's allowing you just to have a moment to settle. Tucking the tailbone under. Remember, we can always put a cushion underneath the bottom. In between the bottom and the heels, that's not a problem. Holding it there. let's take a deep breath. As you exhale, gently let your forearms come down onto the floor and just roll your wrists in one direction and then roll them in the opposite direction. So just roll them in one direction and then the other. And then let them come down. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, come up. We're going to come into a side plank. So hands are beneath the shoulders. We're still in that on all fours, that table position, shoelaces to the floor, elbows slightly soft, tailbone to the back of the room, shoulder blades joined together. You are going to turn out your left foot out to the side. So it's going to go out by about 30 degrees. As you do that, you're going to rotate, leg extends out to the side, and we're going to come into our side plank position. We want a nice straight arm and leg. Now we can look forward. If we want to test our balance more, we can look up. Challenge even more, lift the leg so you're in a nice straight line. And we're holding it here in side plank position. Core is engaged, abdominals are nice and strong, that leg is floating. We want that neutral spine, chest open, and hold, nice and steady. Don't take your foot off the floor like I just did and tip over. Keep nice and strong. So we're breathing nice and deep. Now we can challenge ourselves more. Turn the palm towards the head. Let the arm come over the head and back. So it comes over and back. So palm towards the head, over, palm away from the head, push back. So just challenging the balance a little bit more. Last 4. Inhaling, exhaling. Last 3. Last 1. Turn the palm forward, head's looking up the arm. Turn the head back, bring it back onto all fours. This time come into shell, knees as wide as the mat. Remember, if shell is uncomfortable on the hips and the knees, then go back into that child's pose we did in the first one. We can have a cushion between. Reach the palms forward and allow yourself to come down in the middle, holding it there. Letting those fingertips spread out, reach out, tailbone tucked under. Just enjoying that stretch for a moment. Breathing deeply. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. Tailbone tucked under. Now very gently, let the head lift and let your arms come in slightly. Resting on the forearms, turn the palms up towards the ceiling and just take your hands into a fist. As you do so, roll the wrist and then release. So we roll in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And last one, in and out. Gently push up onto all fours. And as we do so, as we hold that position, hands beneath the shoulders again, this time we're going to turn the right foot out to the side. So the right foot goes out by about 30 degrees. We rotate onto the knee, hand beneath the shoulder. I know I've got my back to you, I'm going to turn around in a second. Arm up, we're in a nice straight line. We can keep the foot on the floor or we can lift the leg and challenge ourselves even more. So I'm just going to turn around. So I am facing you. So as you're holding that position, remember we want to be really conscious that we've got that postural integrity, that the hand is beneath the shoulder and the arm above is directly above. So we've got that nice, beautiful line. So nice and steady, holding it there, foot out by 30, rotating. Remember the head can be looking forward, leg lifted or not, or we can be looking up that arm. That's going to challenge the balance even more. Core is strong, core is engaged. Breathing deeply. Now, if we want to, palm comes over towards the head, over, palm turns back. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last two. Last one. Hold. Head looks up. Head comes back. Rotate down onto all fours. Very gently come down onto your tummy. Let yourself come down onto your tummy. Hands beneath the head. Let us just have a moment here. Just a moment. Feet are hip distance apart. I can feel a sneeze brewing, so bear with me a second. Is it going to come? No, you know when you feel that brewing, but nothing quite happens. So, hands are just beneath the forehead. Now, you can always have a cushion or a block underneath or a hard back book underneath your forehead if you wish. Otherwise, just the hands beneath the head. At the moment, the feet are hip distance apart. I want you to take them so they're as wide as the mat. So they're nice and wide. So let's give our wrists a rest for a moment. So let us begin to gluteal brace. So we squeeze the bum cheeks as if we're trying to clench a 50-pound note. As we do so, the knees rotate in, the ankles rotate in, but the legs remain on the floor, and then we release. So squeeze that 50-pound note. You're clenching it between your bum cheeks, super powerful bum cheeks. And then let it go. Now, as you're going through this movement, you're inhaling on the clench. You're holding it for a moment. Then you're releasing that breath on the release. So inhaling as you draw it in. Holding it for a moment. We're certainly not just taking it in and straight out. We're holding it for a moment and then release. So it's inhale, and let's hold it for a 2 count. Hold it for a 2 count. And then let it release. So squeeze it in. Now, what I want you to be conscious of, so not that you've got much to think about, you know, pelvic integrity, abdominal belt, knees, feet staying on the floor, clutching that 50-pound note, but take a moment and be really present in your glutes, be really present in your bum. Is one of those cheeks working harder than the other? So do you feel any muscles activating quicker on one side than the other side? And this is really useful to do because it allows us to become aware if an area is potentially weak. And our glutes are really significant in our movement, really significant in supporting the pelvic frame, the spine, how we move. So let's just have 2 more of these clenches. And then let's just have the last one. And this time just hold it. We're going to hold it a bit longer than a 2 count. So really holding it, ensuring that you've still got that postural integrity, that pelvic integrity. You're on the 3rd floor. You're staying there for the duration of this session. Take a moment, just sort of scan around the muscles in the glutes. Is any part of the bum not working as much as any other? And then gently let it relax out. Let it relax out. Okay, this time, very gently, coming onto your forearms. Resting on the forearms. My hair's doing my head in today. So, nice and steady. Staying here. Now, if we've got back issues and we want to stay just here, we can just stay here and just hold that posture. Just looking slightly in front. Imagine you've got a nice juicy beef tomato and you're holding it under the chin. Otherwise, we're taking a deep breath. We're coming up a little bit, extending the arms out in front, and then coming back down. So inhaling up. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhaling. Two more. Last one. And relax. Let's come over onto our side. So coming over onto our side, I'm just going to grab my cushion and block. We are going to do cobbler with a raised leg. So remember, if you've got shoulder issues, you may want to take your block or hard back book and cushion and rest your head on them. If you don't have that issue, you may just want to have your arm long, and you might have a cushion, you might not. What you want to be just conscious of, or even a rolled up towel, is that your head's not dropping, because then you've got that pressure on the spine, on the neck. So we want to have it here, we want to have it here, not here. Okay, so just be conscious of that. So I'm going to come down. I like to rest, so I've got both my shoulders stacked on one another. I find that much more comfortable for me and my body, but it's personal choice. So my arms are just extended out in front, and I can have them on top of one another, or I could take a hand to my hip, or maybe I'll take the palm of my hand and place it on the floor. Or if I want to challenge my balance, I could maybe rest it just on the side of my thigh, or I could bring it up and make it more challenging for my balance. But right now, I'm just going to rest it on my side. My shoulders are both stacked on top of one another, my hips are stacked, my knees are stacked, my ankles are stacked, and it's as if I'm sitting on a chair right now. I'm going to take my feet just a fraction behind my knees, and then I'm going to lift my feet up. I'm going to turn my head, just take a snapshot, and remember where my legs are, because it's very easy in this exercise for the feet to begin to come down as we go through the motion. So that pelvic floor, we're on our third floor, those knees are directly on top of one another, and we're just going to open up, keeping the feet together, and then gently close them. So we inhale, we exhale. We inhale, we exhale. We inhale, we exhale. Now last 4 for me. Keeping an eye on where those feet are. So again, if you've got a mirror present, really good. Obviously I can see myself in the camera, so I can see where my feet start to dip down. One more, and let's just hold it there. I'm in pain already. I don't know whether I've been working my legs too much already this week or something. So hold it there, nice and strong. Just holding that position. Pelvic integrity, abdominals nice and strong. Holding it, holding it, holding it. Bring the knee down. Bring the feet down. Ooh, just take a moment, give them a rub. Hand on the floor, hip, side, or up above to challenge. This time, feet are just slightly under, and we're just going back to that basic old school cobbler. So no feet in the air. We're just lifting, feet stay together. As we come down, the knees are coming directly down onto one another. Nice and steady. Inhaling as you lift, exhaling as you bring it down. So last 4. Last 3. Last 2. And of course on this last one, hold it up, and hopefully you're feeling that into the glutes, into the piriformis, into the side. I know I am. Hold it there just for 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Bring it down, bring it down. Give it a rub, give it a rub. Okay, nice and gently coming back over onto all 4s now. So very gently coming over onto all 4s, we're going to do some press-ups. I know they're everyone's favourite. So take your block on your hard back book or your cushion if you've got them. You don't have to have them. Coming onto the knees. Remember, we've got 3 options here. So the hands want to be either side of the mat, so they're shoulder width and a half apart. Knees are under the hips. We could be doing a box press-up. Sorry, I just need to move a little bit because I'm going to hit the wall. So we could be doing a box press-up like so, just coming up and down. We could take our hands further out in front, knees further behind, and you may have your knees separate, or you may cross your feet and come down into 3/4. It's lovely with the cushion underneath you because it gives you that extra support. Or you may have your legs narrower. The wider they are, the more stability you've got. Full press ups. It's up to you. Okay, so hands shoulder width and a half apart. Make sure your fingers are spread out. They're facing forwards. So they're not turning out to the side, they're not turning inwards, they're facing forwards. I'm just going to go for a simple box press up. So knees are hip distance apart, nice and strong. I'm pushing my tailbone to the back of the room. I'm drawing my shoulder blades together. I inhale down and I exhale up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So keep going with that for me. So what I want you to do is really try and slow it down. So really slow it down as you go through the movement. Inhaling as you come down and exhaling as you come up. Remember, if you've got a shoulder issue, our alternative would be to rest the bottom on the heels, and just if you've got, say, a band or you've got some beans, you could just be pushing them out in front like so. If you don't have a band or cans or dumbbells, then just doing this motion is absolutely fine. So nice and steady, controlled. Otherwise we're in press up position. So keep going, just for 4, just for 3, 2, and I want you to hold it at the bottom. So on that last one, just holding it at the bottom, holding it there, nice and strong, just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently come up, come over onto your bum. Cushion and block to the side at this point. We don't need them unless you've got back issues, lower back issues. You may want to sit on the block to take any pressure out the lower back. Feet facing forward. Hands are going to come down behind the bum. Fingers are going to be pointing forwards towards the toes. So hands behind. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. I can't just, the holder for the camera is just over the bit where my hands would be. My feet are hip distance apart. And I'm just going to come back and up. And I'm bending my arms. So tricep dip. Now if you had a step or a chair, you could be doing this off that. Or a sofa, doing that off that. And we're inhaling as we come back, exhaling as we come forward. So nice and steady. So just 4 more. Last 3. Last 2. And last one, hold it here, just hold it here. Feeling that lovely burning sensation in the back of the triceps. So the old bingo wings, keeping it strong. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Sitting comfortably, just take your hands in front and pull the shoulder blades apart. Head down towards the floor. Pulling those shoulder blades apart, releasing across the shoulders. Then take your hands behind and draw your elbows together. So opening the chest up at the front, nice and steady, holding it there. And then relax, just shake it out for a moment, and especially shake out those wrists. And then just take one hand and gently press the fingers back, press the fingers back. So just like that, we're just pressing back, just for a few moments. And then the opposite direction. Ooh, feels nice. Hold it there. And then the other side, so again, pushing the fingers back. It's a lovely blue sky outside today. Hold it there. Trees are looking very lush and green. And then gently opposite direction. Ooh, hold it there. And relax, shake it out. Let's come down to the opposite side. So we need to do that raised cobbler. So again, cushion block if you wish. You can either rest the head on them, or remember you could have the arm long and let the head rest on the arm, or pop a cushion in place. So gently coming down into position, knees on top of one another. And we want those knees so they're in alignment with the hips. So just as if we are sitting on a chair, that's the position we want. And check that that knee on top is slightly forward, not forward as such, but the hips want to be level and the knees want to be level. So if the hips are slightly out, so if your hips pushing back, your knees aren't going to be natural alignment. So you want them so they're just on top of one another equally. Feet, ankles together, let them come just slightly underneath. Hand, remember, could be extended in front. Fingers spread out on the floor, the hip, the side, or tougher still, up top. So very gently lift the feet up, take that snapshot, and then let's begin. Open and close. And of course, you're inhaling as you breathe up, as you bring it up, exhaling as you bring it down. Nice and steady. Three more. Keeping those feet in the same place, keep an eye on them. Last one, let's just hold it up. Bring the knee down, bring the feet down, give it a rub. Hand stays in the same position, or maybe you adjust it wherever feels right. And this time, feet are down, check those knees and ankles are in alignment, and traditional cobbler, just open up from the knee, nice and steady. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's have one more and let's just hold it in place. Hold it there. Just for 4, 3, 2, ooh, and 1. Bring it down. Give it a good rub. Give it a good rub. Or a pat. Check it's still there. This time we're rolling over onto our back and we're starting with imprints. You could keep your cushion under your head if you wish. You may want to take it away. When we come into bridge, we don't want the cushion underneath the head unless you know you've got that overextension and you would have a cushion or a block under the head in the studio. Otherwise, we are just resting on the floor. But we're starting with imprints. Our hands are just resting by our bum cheeks. Our feet are underneath our ankles, as close as to the bum as feels right and is comfortable, okay? So they don't want to be super far away. They want to be as close as they can be and as comfortable as it can be. So remember that pelvic floor is engaged, that abdominal belt's engaged, and all we're going to begin to do is lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling. As we lift that tailbone, the lower back is going to naturally imprint into the mat. Once we've got that natural imprint, we then want to imprint the mid-back, the upper back, and then we want to very gently release the upper back, so this top part, the thoracic, the mid-back, then the lumbar back, and then we get back to that neutral spine position. So we're lifting the tailbone up, imprinting the lower back, imprinting mid, imprinting upper. So when we imprint, the whole of the spine is on the mat, okay? Apart from obviously the neck, but we're just imprinting the whole. Then we release at the top, release in the middle, release at the bottom, and we're just rocking back and forth. And very much like at the beginning when we do those pelvic tilts, or when we do our tuck unders on all fours, this is very much again about getting that movement, getting that synovial fluid, but we've got the pelvic floor, we've got that abdominal belt connected. So we're working those deep transverse abdominis, and that is that waist cincher muscle. It's a big muscle. It comes all the way around the center of the body. It's holding all our organs in place. Then you've got the abdominals on top of that. We've got the muscles in the back. So many different muscle groups working in the core. And this exercise, although it might feel like you're not doing much, is really activating a lot of those muscles. So it's really, really important exercise to do for the back. And I love it. And I know I say that in every single session, so I'm sorry I'm bored. I say it every time, I just can't help it. I've got a really fair mattress, so even I'll be reading my book before. I always like to read before I go to sleep. I'll just be laid there doing my imprints before I go to sleep, before I get out of bed in the morning. Just gives so much relief. So let's have one more. And then let's very gently hold it in pelvic bridge position. So this time, core is nice and strong. We're going to lift into pelvic bridge. Remember that if you start to get cramp in the hamstring, take the feet further away, okay? So taking a nice deep breath in. As we exhale, imprint the lower back, tucking the tailbone up, and as you imprint the lower back, begin to lift, and we're lifting up, and we're just going to hold in our pelvic bridge. Take our hands to our rib cage, check that it's not splaying up towards the ceiling. Eyes should be looking up, not behind, not in front. If they are looking behind, nod the chin. If they're looking in front, lift the chin. So we're holding it there. We're just nice and strong in our pelvic bridge. Just holding it there. Holding it strong. That lovely diagonal line. So if I put a Malteser on your knee, it'll roll down. You could maybe just rotate your head, open your mouth, and have a little snack. Oh, Maltesers. We've been baking lots of cakes in our house and cupcakes because it's an activity to do with Livy. And not so much sort of like if we've had chocolate, maybe it's a bit of a dairy milk, but I don't feel like dairy milk tastes the same like they used to anymore. Just don't taste particularly nice. Very bland chocolate these days. Sorry if I'm offending anybody who's Cadbury's lover, but I don't know. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, slowly bring the upper back down, mid back down, ooh, and lower back. Walk your feet together, knees together, and gently just give me a 5 past 2 and a 5 to 2. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, obviously they have changed because it's owned by an American company now. But it's the first time I've had like dairy milk chocolate in ages, and we've had it a few times, and I've just been like, just doesn't fulfill the chocolate desire at all. And now I've just thought about Maltesers, and so I was like, Maltesers. So nice and steady, sorry. You know I can't help but talk about food whenever I'm teaching. Whenever I'm teaching in the studio, or generally even home here in my loft, just so nice and steady. Bringing it back to the centre. Keep your feet together and your knees together. Take your hands, so take your index fingers and your other fingers onto your hip bones and thumbs onto the rib cage. Core's nice and strong. We are going to take both knees out. So if you wanted to make this harder, you could take a band around your legs, tie it in a bow while they're together. And that would give you added resistance, okay? So if you're wanting it a little bit harder. So we're coming out. We're keeping the hips like the spotlights. Remember, we always say about thinking of the hips as like the spotlights, headlights of a car up towards the ceiling. So we're keeping our fingers on them so that if we open them up too far, you will feel the hips begin to rotate out, and we don't want that. And then drawing them back towards the center. So inhaling as you take them out, exhaling as you bring them back. So just nice and steady. So last two. Last one, taking it out, keeping those hips facing upwards, and then bringing it back. Letting your feet come hip distance apart. Remember, if you're not sure about that, we bring them together, knees together, turn the feet out, hip distance, heels out, hands by the side. Sorry, I feel like there's been a few times today where we've been doing flows and I've just like totally got into just the counting and gone very quiet. So I do apologise if it sounded like I've gone to sleep a few moments. I've just been concentrating on the exercise as opposed to waffling on, which I'm very good at generally. So keep your hands on the hip bones and your thumbs on the ribs. Lift your right leg up to 90 degrees. If we don't have any sciatica issues, let's flex the foot. We've got sciatica issues, just keep the foot relaxed. That's absolutely fine. We're going to take it out now. We've got three options. We can take it up to the ceiling, we can take it out to an angle, or we can take it out to the thingy. In fact, I'm lying, we've got four options. If you wanted to make it harder still, rather than having the bent leg, start with the straight leg. So you've got a bigger leverage coming down. So we are here, we could be pushing up to the ceiling, we could be pushing out to an angle, we could be pushing down towards the ground, or we may start with a straight leg and we may be coming down. So remember, it's up to you. So nice and steady. I'm going to go with straight leg for a change this week, so it's your call. Let's inhale as we bring it down, exhale as we draw it in. And we're just doing that one leg. So let's just have 8 of these. Last 4. Last 2. Let's have one more for look. And pull it in, bring it down. Same on the other side. We've got that 90-degree option or the straight leg option. So taking a deep breath. As we exhale, foot flexed or not. If we've got no sciatica, foot flexed. Otherwise, keep it slightly soft. Bringing it down, exhaling. Last 2. Last 1. Bring it down. Taking both hands by the side, and you could be using your cans of beans or whatever canned produce you have, water bottles, dumbbells, or nothing at all. You're going to bring your arms up over the chest. I'm going to do it with nothing, but it doesn't mean you don't have to. And all we're going to do is, if we're swimming backstroke, we're going to take one arm back and one arm forward. What I want you to be conscious of as you're taking those arms backwards and forwards is that you're not arching and lifting in the back, okay? So the spine's staying in neutral. The ribs also, they're not beginning to splay up. So for me, I know that I can't get my arm any further really than just before my head, because I'm going to begin to arch my spine. I'm going to begin to arch my upper back, and my ribs are going to splay. So this is about scapular, shoulder stability. We also want to have that core stability going on nice and steady. So last 4, and then we're moving into our stretches, and believe it or not, we're there. I can't believe that, seems to have gone very fast. Had a few more exercises planned, but time has gone. So very gently, bringing them both back, bringing it down. I want you to roll onto your side, and again, you may use your cushion and block at this point, or not. Bottom leg goes straight, top leg, you're going to bend, you're going to take hold of the back of the foot, the leggings, the sock, and just hold it there. Other arm can just be extended out in front, hips are stacked, and we're just holding in that quad stretch. So just get a nice stretch into the quads. So that's the front of the thighs, that big muscle all along here. Breathing nice and deep. So well done, well done. Well done for putting up with me waffling and zoning out. I say zoned out, I think like, you know, when you just sort of like, you get into, this is the weird thing when you're teaching these videos. So you're like talking and you're counting, and then all of a sudden you just go quiet. And then you're like, oh, have I been quiet too long? I've just had a moment. And maybe it's like, you're like, oh, thank goodness for that. Jen was quiet for a moment. But then it feels weird that if I've gone to quiet too long. And then I think, oh, have I zoned out? Have I been too long? I know when I was teaching yoga the other week, a live yoga session, someone thought, there's like, oh, Jen's been quiet for a while. Is she still with us? I wasn't, just was giving the silence, but sometimes you never know if it was too long. So gently release that leg. We're just going to do the same on the other side. So I'm just going to shift myself onto the other side of my mat. So I'm still facing the camera. So you could just roll onto your other side. And very gently. Oh. Hold it there. In yoga, there's more time where you're quiet, whereas in Pilates, it's kind of, you're not necessarily as quiet. I don't know. I'm waffling. I apologise. So nice and steady. Hold it there. Very gently taking that leg down. Bend both knees. Take one hand across the chest. Push yourself up to seated. Now, if you need a block or a cushion underneath your lower back, just take it underneath. You're going to take your legs nice and wide. So just stretching the hamstrings. I know you can't see my legs. They seem to have gone off shot. I've just got my legs straight out. I've just got my hands resting on my thighs. All I'm doing, shoulder blades are back and down into the spine. All I'm going to do is take a nice deep breath. And as I exhale, I'm just going to slide forward and hold. So I'm just getting a stretch into my inner thighs and into my hamstrings. I'm not curling myself over, I'm nice and long, and I'm just holding it there for a few moments. So just getting that stretch. And if you wanted to go a little bit further, you can. Remember, we can always sway from the hips as well. So we would never ever bounce in a stretch, but we can sway from our hips because that would allow us to go that little bit deeper. And then we just hold. Taking a deep breath. As you exhale, slowly come up. Slowly coming over onto your knees. Just as you're there, toes tucked under, come up. Give your arms a little swing. So you're just swinging them out, bringing the heart rate back up. We've been on the floor a little while. And let them relax. Take a moment. Am I still pelvically, abdominally connected? I've got that tailbone tucked under. I've got that postural integrity. And then just lift your weaker leg forward. So weaker leg forward, foot on the floor. Toes, they could be either to the floor, shoelaces could be to the floor, or toes could be tucked under. That tucked under gives you that assist. Hands by the side. Remember, you can always use a wall or chair to help you up. If this is not the right way for you to come up, it feels too much, then any fashion, as long as it's safe and you're stable and strong, is absolutely spot on. So let's inhale up and exhale down. Sassy walk it out for me, so just swing everything out. And then let it relax, let it relax. Roll your shoulders, tailbone under, pelvic floor engaged, abdominal belt engaged, peachy peach under your chin. And well done, you're all done. Well done, everybody. Take care.